South Africa has officially launched its 2024 election campaign. Revealing the campaign theme, targets and rollout plan, the launch took place earlier today in Tshwane and coincides with the party marking its first birthday, which was last week on Sunday. BOSA Deputy Leader Nobuntu Hlazo Webster joins me live now. Nobuntu, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Firstly, congratulations on celebrating a year. As you reflect on BOSA's growth, what would you say are the key achievements for this organization?
Thank you for having us, and thank you for the congratulatory message. It's been an interesting year.
Yeah.
Starting something from scratch is not easy. And we particularly took it on ourselves to actually build something that didn't exist in South Africa.
Yeah.
What we said is that we were going to build a party that is by the people, for the people. And so when we launched in September in Naledi, Soweto last year, we called on South Africans and we said, nominate leaders in your communities that you want, and in your constituencies that you want to run for elections and to run for parliament come 2024. And one of our achievements is that South Africans did that. We have over 500 nominations, and we revealed in July the first 24 that have gone through the process and that will run for elections under Build One SA in 2024. That's one of our accomplishments. We have 20,000 activists who are on the front line, who are building in all 9 provinces throughout South Africa. We've been able to do that in the first year. We have done incredible work on the ground. We call ourselves a government in working and not a government in waiting. And so where we are finding challenges in communities, which is in every community really, what we have been doing is that we have been meeting those challenges in partnership with communities, in partnership with other organizations. As we speak, we're drilling a borehole in Lephalaphala in Limpopo.
So let's speak about the road to 2024 elections. I mean, it is a daunting task having to launch your campaign as well. Give us some key takeaways from your event and why you chose Tshwane specifically.
So we chose Tshwane specifically because we are going to occupy the union buildings. It is symbolic, and we're intentional about being there. We also have a strong footprint. We have strong activists and a strong growing BOSA community and BOSA leaders in Tshwane. So it was important that we recognize that by having our first year anniversary there. But I think most important for us today, what was important was to roll out and to be able to say, first of all, Mmusi Maimane will be running as our presidential candidate. Okay. So that was important for today. And secondly, it was to outline some of the policies that we have framed with communities, because we've had listening sessions and we've gone into communities over the past year to be able to get to a point now where we can say, this is our thinking around policy for 2024.
Now, Mmusi Maimane is an influential and noticeable figure within South African politics. What does he bring this time around, especially under this umbrella of BOSA?
So what he brings this time around, first of all, is the model that when we founded the party in 2024, how we founded the party in 2024, is that we're saying we want to bring power back to South Africans. You know, when you look at our politics and when you look at what is happening, the real issue is that we've started to lose our power as South Africans, and the very definition of democracy is that it's governed by the people. So first of all, what he brings and what we bring is that we bring a model or a platform through which people can govern and can know that their voices and actually their thoughts and their thinking on issues in South Africa are being well represented. So that's the first thing. Secondly, we've been sure that even with these candidates that we've asked to be nominated, we are putting together a group of highly skilled South Africans, credible leaders who are known as leaders, people who have clean track records, people who actually care about this country. Those are some of the things that are different. There's also a difference in some of our policy thinking. You know, I'll make an example as it pertains to education. The biggest issue that we see as it pertains to education is the inequality and inequity that you see in education. You look at schools that are in the townships and rural areas and schools that are in the suburbs, and really from infrastructure to the number of children and learners in classes, you see that there's a very clear distance, which actually still reflects what you saw in apartheid. So when you look at our education policy, we're saying that parents must have an opportunity to choose which schools they go to. You have a collaboration between private and public, and that allows for you to be able to give vouchers to parents to say, choose the school your child goes to.
So as you know, and speaking about policy still, South Africa has a number of pressing challenges, including high unemployment, especially amongst the youth, and an economy that isn't growing as much as we'd want to. What does BOSA then bring to the table to help, for instance, encourage more jobs to be created in this country?
So first of all, we have an economy that relies very heavily on the mainstream economy.
Yeah.
And we also rely on government as it pertains to job. We have not done enough to invest in the township economy. We, as a policy in BOSA, we want to invest in township economy. We want to make sure that we have township economies that are thriving. And, you know, often when you speak of township economies, people will think about, you know, smaller businesses.
Right.
But we're saying that you need to have big business and you need to have private sector also plowing into those businesses and working with those businesses. We're putting on the table the Jobs and Justice Fund, where as part of contribution or as part of paying into having been able to gain from apartheid, businesses must pay into the Jobs and Justice Fund. And what we must see happen from there is that the Jobs and Justice Fund is able to pour into township economies and into businesses that can create employment where people live. People should be able to live and work at the same place. We're talking about in our policy a national civilian service where young people should have a year of work experience so that, one, they're able to gain skills even before they go and study further, but at the same time as that, you're creating some sort of stipend that they have. There's a number of policies that we have that speak specifically to young people and to getting young people working as well.
A major theme in the news cycle in recent times has been the country's high levels of crime, especially violent crime. How does BOSA then plan to address this?
So, as BOSA, we really do believe in making sure that you have strong provincial policing. Currently, policing is centralized, and you find that it's very difficult for a centralized policing system to know the specifics and nitty-gritties of what is happening in provinces, what is happening in municipalities and in communities and in wards. We also believe in a partnership where you have volunteers in the community that are part of tackling crime in communities. And we also believe in private-public partnerships. I mean, as it stands now, we have more private guards and more private security than you do public security. But we think there is an opportunity to actually partner those two so that we're able to deal with the issues that we have with crime in South Africa. Lastly, it's about efficient government. The fact that right now, in terms of law enforcement, it's not digitized. Yeah. That tells you, you know, this is how dockets go missing. This is how you can't follow up. There's an inefficiency in the system. And part of that has a lot to do with the leadership and the political will to be able to change that.
When you look at the strategy of a number of existing parties right now, it would seem there is this big push to capture the imaginations of young people and get more young people to register to vote. What is your strategy in this regard?
So we are absolutely targeting young people. We're working with young people. We have young people in our leadership and we have young people in our ranks. And that's not only just about targeting young people. It's also because we believe that a lot of the innovation, solution and leadership that we need in this country needs to come from young people. The same would go for women. Women are the biggest voters in this country. And so we need to be seeing women playing a larger role in politics. We need to be seeing women having a bigger voice as it pertains to politics as well, and leading, because women lead already. They lead in communities. You find that they're already leading in communities. The issues that communities face, it's women often that are spearheading the solutions for those issues. So we want to see women active, and we want to make sure that we're capturing them as well.
And taking from the theme of youth, many would argue that when you look at a party or an organization like BOSA, it's still in its infancy stage. Why should the electorate trust your party and make their mark next to BOSA's logo?
It's very clear that the old is not working for us now.
Yeah.
There may have been a time where it worked, but we're sitting now actually in crisis. And South Africans have to realize that we're in crisis. We are in communities everywhere in all 9 provinces. And there is not one community that we are in where there isn't crisis. We talk energy, water, education, all the issues that you've just mentioned, unemployment, high unemployment.
Yeah.
We're a country in crisis. And so South Africans have to realize that the old is not working for us now, and it's time for the new. It's time for us to create the best version of South Africa that we've never seen. But more than anything, we're saying, first of all, we're already doing the working. We say we're not a government in waiting, we're a government in working. We're already doing the work in communities. We're already coming and working to bring solutions to the issues that exist in communities. But more than anything, we are a party that is the people. Like I said, we called on communities to nominate their own candidates. So I myself have come out of business, have come out of civil society to come and lead as deputy leader and co-founder in BOSA. I am a citizen. I am the people. And we're the people as BOSA.
So let's reflect more on today's event. What was said by the leader of BOSA, just for the benefit of our viewers?
Sure. Really, the outline of today was to, first of all, mark the year and to recognize the work that's been done. It was important to also just recognize the moment and the need for South Africans to be able to build. Our theme really is around building. It's about the fact that where there's destruction and where others are destroying, we have to make sure that we build to keep this country moving. He also outlined some of our policies. So he spoke to our policies on economy, on how we want to develop township economy. We want to develop township special economic zones and make sure that we see thriving industry in townships. He spoke to the issues of basic services, ensuring that we have the right and qualified leaders so that we're able to deliver basic services. He spoke to issues of a maternal policy, you know, and the development of children in this country, where you've got a child grant, but we're saying that many children are actually born and they're stunted. And so, you know, you can't just start taking care of a child once they're born, because some of the issues that we see, even in the education system, is because of the stunted growth of like 30% of the children. So he spoke about, with regards to health, a maternal policy that we want to introduce. He also spoke about education. And first of all, we always speak about what is expected of learners and young people, being a 30% pass rate for most of the subjects. And we spoke about the quality of education and how we need to improve the quality of education. But like I said before, most importantly, we need to ensure equal access to quality education and not continuing the legacy of apartheid that has existed in this country.
You touched on the issue of health. As BOSA, do you support this proposal for the NHI bill?
So what we support is equal access. You know, we in everything, in all our policy, whether it's economy, whether it's education, we support equal access. So to us, it's important that South Africans are able to have a choice as to which healthcare provider they go to. And we want for government to be able to underwrite that. So that's what we're saying that we'll do. It can't be right that 30 years post-apartheid, where you get healthcare still depends on where you sit in terms of your income bracket or where you live. You need to be able to have a choice as it pertains to healthcare, and government must underwrite that.
As we wrap up, how do you plan to take your message to the people? I mean, a lot of parties would implement a strategy of door-to-door or interacting with the electorate as well. How does BOSA plan to go about reaching its constituency as well?
So as I said before, we are in all 9 provinces. We have provincial leaders and structures in every region in all the 9 provinces. And so we have BOSA communities that we've built that are really strong across the different provinces. And what we're doing actually is not even really around going around and making promises. What we're doing is we are in communities working and building with communities. And that's our primary strategy. Over the next 8 months, we will continue to be in communities. Our leader, Musima Emane, and myself will be in communities as well, working side by side with our leaders in those communities, making sure that the message is out there. But more than anything, making sure that we're inspiring South Africans to actually put hands together and build. Whereas before, we've waited for somebody to come and save us. We're now saying, let's work together as South Africans and let's build this country.
Nobuntu, thank you very much for your time. That's Nobuntu Hlazo Webster. Of course, she's the deputy leader of BOSA as